Hyundai's game plan to offer a bit extra than the rivals has always worked for the brand. Right in 2014, the OG Grand i10 made space for itself in the heavily dominated B category hatchback segment, with few more features that its Japanese counterparts didn't have. And in 2019, the Grand i10 Nios built up on it. Well, now we have the fully loaded Nios back in the game in this facelifted avatar, and it looks quirkier than it ever was.
So if you have followed Shah Rukh's look in Pathan, well, you'd agree that it's quite the makeover. And a similar treatment even the Grand i10 Nios has received. But this one looks more like a chocolate boy hero, very cute in terms of design and courtesy or very small changes. So you have got a wider grille, a different mesh pattern, also finished in piano black and flanked by very cool looking boomerang DRLs here along with these side air curtains. On the top you have similar treatments, so wraparound units for the projector headlights and a very deep and a very pronounced character line here on the bonnet. Overall, in terms of design, yes, it looks very fresh and as I said, very cute in terms of appeal.
The face does look new and modern, but the profile remains identical to the outgoing model. Same silhouette, same character lines, and even the alloy wheels are same 15-inch units. That said, the rear end has been tweaked.
So new taillights at the rear, that's the only change, and these are connected units conjoined through the strip here. Also new motifs for the LED treatment and also very fresh in terms of look, because this is a treatment we have seen in new age cars. So yes, very fresh in terms of design, but other than that, nothing else has changed.
So the typical Hyundai family cues are inevitable in its design. Now let's see what's the story like on the inside.
So in terms of design and finish, the car remains identical, and that's actually a good thing because the feel-good factor that's maintained, one of the highest selling points of this car. Also, the only thing new is the seat cover, so finished in silver. And it carries over all the segment best features, so an 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You've also got auto climate control here, a wireless charging pad, again a segment best feature, also rear air con vents on the central console. But what I would have loved to have is a center armrest for the driver, good for longer commutes, and wireless connectivity for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto would have added to that sense of premiumness.
Well, I am demanding here and not complaining. More so as the car gives you 4 airbags as standard, so front and side airbags on all variants, while the top end trim gets curtain airbags as well. So a total of 6 airbags, which again is segment best. You also get electronic stability control and hill start assist. Now let's get behind the wheel and see what's the update like.
First thing that you'll appreciate as soon as you get going is that how easy this car is to drive in the city. The clutch feels very light, has a short travel, and even the gear shifts are very precise. The steering too is very light, though I would have liked to have more heft when we speed up on the highway, but for city commutes it's quite nice to maneuver, and even the turning radius is very tight, so for parking situation or to drive in a tight traffic situation from in bumper to bumper traffic feels really nimble.
Yes, the 4.9 meters turning radius is a big boon in our traffic conditions, and its light and easy drivability would make you want to use it even more. Even if it's not the only car in your garage, and that's a big plus. But still, there is little room for improvement.
Now the ride quality is on the stiffer side, and that's primarily because of the suspension setup. Basically it's comfortable for most of the part, but exactly when you crash through those potholes or sharp bumps or a rough patch, it's when you feel that sharp pinch in your back and you need to drop down your speed right there.
A bit suppleness in the suspension would have gone a long way, making the Nios marvel fatigue-free traveler, because the engine too complements that easy-going character.
Also on the engine front, the 1.2-liter engine doesn't feel underpowered at all and is very silent. So the cabin also feels quite silent and you are in peace here. Just that when you rev it hard, you tend to hear that growl.
The petrol engine belts out 82 brake horsepower at 6000 rpm and 114 Nm of peak torque at 4000 rpm. It is mated to a 5-speed manual transmission as standard, while Hyundai also gives you the option of an AMT automatic gearbox in select variants. And the hatch also comes in CNG variants where the same motor puts out 68 brake horsepower at 6000 rpm and 93 Nm of peak torque at 4000 rpm. The CNG engine only has the 5-speed manual gearbox on offer. Now let's stick to the 1.2-liter petrol manual we are driving.
Now the 1.2-liter engine does the job for most of the part quite efficiently and is good for fuel economy as well. There is a bit lag at the low end, but mid-range is good for city commute, so you won't feel any lack of power, it won't feel underpowered. But if you're one of those who like spirited driving and want that extra kick from that engine, exactly where you'll miss the 1-liter turbo unit, because that had hot hatch-like character.
Yes, the motorhead in you would have just loved that tiny turbo engine. Motivating enough for your daily office commute, a tap on the throttle and it would go. Even the stiffer suspension setup would have felt just right. While with this 1.2-liter petrol motor, you need to wait a bit for the engine to respond after a downshift, and overtaking on highways would need a bit working with the gears. So we hope that the 1-liter GDI turbo is still on the cards and will join the range soon as it did the last time. Having said that, the Grand i10 Nios still aces the fuel economy test, easily delivering around 14.8 km per liter by the MID, and we weren't going easy on the throttle during our drive. So it won't burn a hole in your pocket, exactly why an average buyer would pick this over the turbo.
So finally, what we think of the Grand i10 Nios facelift? Well, yes, the car has gotten even more stylish and cute, and the cabin is up on that feel-good factor with all that bells and whistles, those segment-best features. And yes, we agree that the 1-liter turbo engine could have given it that additional benefit over the competition, but even the 1.2-liter engine is enough for your daily commute and your runabouts. So yes, if you're out in the market for a small family hatchback, the Grand i10 Nios facelift could be one of your considerations.
The Nios does justice to the Grand in its name, with a bucket load of features as far as segment standards are concerned, and with the ex-showroom prices beginning at 5,68,000 rupees while going up to 8,47,000 rupees, the Grand i10 Nios remains very relevant and competitive in its segment.